The following may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
2 men erased in Blanchisseuse. 2 men were killed in Blanchisseuse last night. The victims were identified as Clive Phoebe Joseph, 48, and Kevin G. Estrada, 40, of Upper Village, Blanchisseuse. Around 8:27 p.m. on September 8th, the 2 men were said to be standing talking at O'Connor Street, Upper Village, Blanchisseuse, when 2 assailants emerged from the bushes and opened fire on them. They died at the scene. No motive has yet been established for their demise. Police officers and villagers have described both men as quiet and innocent. This double homicide follows the discovery of a body in a forested area of Blanchisseuse on September 7th. Acting on information, officers went to the area and found the victim, who is yet to be identified. The body bore 3 gunshot wounds. Investigations are continuing into both incidents. Reputed gang leader meets his untimely demise in daylight ambush. A well-orchestrated hit is how investigators describe the demise of 38-year-old gang leader Anthon Boney, who was shot by assailants dressed in tactical gear after they stopped his SUV along the northbound lane of the Uriah Butler Highway near the Coroni Bird Sanctuary just before noon yesterday. Investigators revealed that a dark-colored SUV intercepted Boney's vehicle along the highway close to 11:10 a.m. and ordered him to pull over. Boney of Africa Road, John Laventil, stopped his dark gray Kia Sorento SUV licensed PDP 7944. One of the occupants of the other vehicle, who was dressed in black tactical gear and black boots, approached Boney's vehicle and, after asking him if he was the owner, pumped several bullets into Boney. Following the shooting, Boney's vehicle, which investigators said was still idling, rolled a short distance forward into a ditch and came to a halt. The assailants ran back to the SUV and drove off, northbound, with other occupants. Police suspect they may have used a black Toyota RAV4. Investigators revealed a 63-year-old woman who was also in Boney's vehicle escaped unhurt. They also believe there was a third occupant in the SUV. Senior intelligence sources report that Boney's demise will have deep ramifications in the underworld, adding they have already received credible information about those who are potentially responsible for Boney's demise. The intelligence sources said a recent incident in which a well-known gang leader was the victim of an attempted homicide may be connected to Boney's death. In fact, over the last few weeks, law enforcement stated there has been constant chatter about criminal elements planning to use police and/or army uniforms to commit serious crimes. Sources said they have also received credible information that the assailants responsible for Boney's demise may have been rogue law enforcement elements for hire by the underworld. Boney's demise sparked immediate outrage in the Laventil area, as men allegedly loyal to Boney erased the man moments later. Residents from the John area yesterday declined to comment on the incident. However, they expressed concern over a possible reprisal and called for a heavy presence of soldiers and police in the community for the rest of the day and every day beyond the weekend. Boney's sister, Dixie Ann, confirmed that she was able to view his body, but said she couldn't speak more on his homicide or anything else. However, sources in John confirmed that an emergency meeting was called by Boney's lieutenants to analyze the circumstances surrounding his demise and to put together a list of names who could be responsible. Minister of National Security Fitzgerald Hines said the erasing of Boney is under serious and prompt investigation. Hines said he is awaiting a further report. He also confirmed that as Laventil West MP, he had heard about some shootings and the closure of 2 health centers. Success Laventille, and Upper Laventille health centers, but said he could not say for sure if it was connected to Boney's demise. But I do know once that kind of shooting is taking place again, I have been informed by the police that they are on their usual patrols in the area, exerting their usual presence, and will do what they have to do to ensure that that kind of thing does not continue. If it is in fact that it happened, and to bring safety and security and peace to the people of Laventille, Hines said. Hines said he was confident that things will not get out of hand. I am confident that the presence of law enforcement platforms all over Trinidad and Tobago has been able to and continue to contain that type of volatility. So I am confident that it will not get out of hand. We have been grappling with an increase in the number of murders over the last few days. This report is just the last of them. According to police, Boney was believed to be the second biggest gang leader in the country. He had 21 sub-gangs and a rough total of 600 young men under his command. Boney sold CDs on the streets of Port of Spain up until he took control of former Laventille Don Mark Guerra's turf. Around that same time, he started to operate a car dealership in the area. In 2011, Boney was detained in connection with an alleged plot against the then Prime Minister, Kamla Persad Bissessar. Boney was detained for a total of 7 days for inquiries and was released on December 5, 2011, without any charge being laid against him. He sued the state and won after a High Court judge determined that his 5-day detention was unlawful. However, his attempt to retrieve $500,000 in damages was reduced to $70,000. Also, Boney was found not guilty of shooting a TNT Defense Force intelligence officer during an incident in 2002. Police said he had several other brushes with the law over the years. Man erased by law enforcement leads to protests in Diego Martin. A 22-year-old man of Upper Covent Road, Diego Martin, was erased during a police-involved shooting early yesterday morning. The demise led to fiery protests in the area as residents played a cat-and-mouse game with the police as they attempted to block the roads. The deceased was identified as Jonah Kirby Gordon, 22. According to a police report, at about 6 a.m., a party of officers from the Western Division Task Force went to Gordon's house to execute a search warrant. However, it is alleged that the officers were fired upon, causing them to return fire. Gordon was shot several times. He was taken to the St. James Hospital, where he succumbed to his injuries. News of Gordon's death sparked fiery protests by residents from the area. However, the protests were quickly dispersed by police and TNT Defense Force personnel. Firefighters also went to the scene to extinguish fires and clear the debris used to block the roads. By 5 p.m. yesterday, protests again reignited as residents upset over Gordon's demise attempted to highlight their outrage by blocking the road again. But that protest was short-lived as officers again put a quick end to the action. According to statistics acquired from the TNT Police Service, there were 27 fatal police-involved shootings so far for the year in comparison to the 57 for the same period last year. Married couple charged with travel agency fraud. A couple in their 40s has been charged with 26 counts of fraud. Rashid Ali, 48, and Sherry Durbal Ali, 44, were charged on Monday. They were taken to the Central Police Station and granted bail by Justice of the Peace Stephen Young in the sum of $300,000 to cover all the charges. They are scheduled to appear virtually at the Chaguanas Magistrates Court on November 11. Durbal Ali, who is listed as the director of Traveline Travel Agency in Chaguanas, was charged with 14 counts of fraudulent conversion, while her husband Rashid was charged with 12 counts of fraudulent conversion. On Tuesday, police reported that the charges stem from transactions which took place between 2018 and 2021, during which time several persons would have paid varying sums of money to the agency to secure travel to and from numerous international and regional destinations. However, the funds were allegedly never paid to the airline companies by the couple, resulting in the victims being unable to travel. The suspects were interviewed by officers of both the San Fernando and Port of Spain Fraud Squad offices during the period of September 1 to 5 and later charged for the offenses. The investigation was spearheaded by Acting Senior Superintendent Arlette Grome, supervised by Inspector Bachu and Sergeant C. Prasad, and including Acting Corporal Mohammed, WPC Roberts, PC Jemmett of the San Fernando Fraud Squad, and Acting Corporal Rudroff, WPC Crawford, and PCs Legier and Grome of the Port of Spain office. Nephew charged with uncle's demise. The nephew of Himraj Badassi, whose human skeletal remains were found last Friday, is charged with his demise. Dylan Badassi, 26, of Bhagwan Singh Trace, Karatal, appeared at the San Fernando First Magistrates Court on Monday, and the matter was adjourned to October 4th. The charge was laid by Acting Corporal Alana Calendar, following the advice of Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions, DPP, Joan Honor Paul, police reported. Himraj was last seen alive walking along Cooper Grange Street, St. John's Village, San Fernando, by a relative on August 22. He was reported missing to the St. Madeleine police station the following day. On August 31, a first instance warrant was executed on the suspect for failure to attend court to answer to a housebreaking charge. Officers of the Homicide Bureau Region 3 were subsequently able to link the accused to the disappearance of the victim after extensive investigations. Police officers went to Bossier Trace, Grand Couva, on Friday, where they found human skeletal remains believed to be that of the victim. The investigation was spearheaded by Acting Superintendent Sean Dilpaul and supervised by Inspector Anil Maharaj. Employee of Children's Authority charged with indecent offences. A Children's Authority employee who was charged with indecent conduct has been suspended and a criminal investigation launched. On Monday, the Children's Authority stated that any report of abuse, even if it involves an employee, will be investigated. Kevin Duke, 37, of Rockleyville, Scarborough, appeared before Magistrate Joanne Connor at the Scarborough Magistrates Court on Monday, where he was granted $80,000 bail with a surety of $10,000 cash alternative. Duke allegedly revealed himself to a then 16-year-old boy via social media. The authority stated, when the matter of the employee who was charged today with one count of serious indecency was brought to the authority's attention, the organization immediately conducted its investigation procedure, which resulted in the suspension of the employee and commencement of criminal investigations by the Child Protection Unit of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. It added, the authority assures the public that the organization continues to demand the highest standard of conduct from all its employees, and it remains committed to the protection of the nation's children. The public is reminded that all reports of child abuse should be made to the police at 999 or the authority at 996. fully vaccinated oil and gas sector worker is one of 6 Delta variant cases. One of the 2 fully vaccinated people reported with the Delta variant of the COVID-19 virus works in the oil and gas sector. The other tested positive for the virus 5 days after arriving in Trinidad and was quarantined. This was revealed by Chief Medical Officer Dr. Roshan Parasram at the virtual media conference of the Ministry of Health on Wednesday. The Ministry of Health reported 6 confirmed cases of the Delta variant from sequencing, the results of which could take between 2 to 3 weeks. Dr. Parasram said the case in the oil and gas sector was discovered after routine testing and was referred to the ministry for sequencing for a variant because of recent travel history. He said the results a few weeks later revealed the Delta variant, and this person would have been able to quarantine but would have had contacts within that site. That person had no symptoms at the time of testing. Dr. Parasram said that the 7 or 8 contacts were also quarantined and returned negative test results and discharged. He said the other case was a person who returned to the country and had symptoms 5 days later. Dr. Parasram said he tested positive and was immediately quarantined. He said 3 or 4 family members were also quarantined with this person. The travel protocols in Trinidad and Tobago allows for no quarantine for fully vaccinated nationals and non-nationals coming into the country. Dr. Parasram said confirmed Delta cases have to go through an enhanced discharge criteria of 2 negative tests. He added that once a returning national is in a high-risk category due to his travel history, he will be treated as he has a variant of concern once he tests positive. Dr. Parasram reiterated that since T&T borders were opened under the TT Travel Pass, 14,223 fully vaccinated people have entered with only 2 testing positive. He said that this meant that a fully vaccinated returning national had a 0.014% of becoming positive for COVID-19. The CMO said this was an extremely low percentage. 2 fake vaccination cards found during anti-crime exercise. 2 persons were arrested for being in possession of fraudulent COVID-19 vaccination cards on Tuesday during an anti-crime exercise. One of the 2 persons was also found with a magazine and 1 round of ammunition. The anti-crime exercise was conducted between 1 p.m. and 8 p.m. in the Northeastern and Port of Spain divisions, police reported. During the intelligence-led exercise, several search warrants for forged documents were executed. In one incident, officers proceeded to Hitler Street, Laventille, along with a 34-year-old man of Upper Wharton Street, Laventille. A search was conducted, and a fraudulent COVID-19 vaccination card belonging to a man was found along with a magazine with 1 round of 5.56 ammunition. The fraudulent document and the ammunition were seized and the man was arrested. Another search warrant was executed at a house at Bison Street, Port of Spain. During the search, officers found 1 fraudulent COVID-19 vaccination card which belonged to a woman. The woman was arrested and the fraudulent document was seized. The exercise was spearheaded by Senior Superintendent Winston Maharaj, Acting Superintendent Ramjan, ASP Parryman, coordinated by Inspector Barath, supervised by Acting Sergeant Mitchell, and included other members of the NED gang unit with assistance from members of IATF. Investigations are continuing.